All right, let's do this before I get any more tired. It is Monday, February the 2nd, Groundhog Day. Let's go through some individual charts. We will cover gold and silver towards the end. And anything else that comes to mind. I will just say, as I'm just started this up, I did see official news. Thank you, Ryan, who initially alerted me to this. SpaceX has acquired XAI for officially a sum of $250 billion. You got to think that's one of the biggest official stock mergers in history. Of course, it's a private deal. SpaceX and XAI are both currently private companies. And keep in mind, XAI is basically the parent company for X Corp, which of course is X/Twitter. So SpaceX now own Twitter. It's strange as that. Oh my god. And of course, there was even chatter recently, but I mean, there was talk about SpaceX merging with Tesla, but that doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with that. Anyway, let's not get distracted by the news. So Apple solid gains 4.1% at 270. We even have a close above the 50-day. RSI's, underlying power is building up. I mean, look, 288, the December high, it's probably going to be cleared. Yep. Moving on. Archer Aviation. It's a bit of a chop fest. JOBY has a better structure. Agnico Eagle actually settled up 0.2%. You can see the 50-day. We have a gap to tag around, 205, 210-ish. So yeah, there's a good $10, $15 short-term upside. American Eagle up 5.8%. Momentum will turn positive on either Wednesday or Thursday. Probably, yeah, either Wednesday or Thursday. But yeah, that's bullish. We have a good secure floor from 22. First Majestic Silver down 2%, pressured by the fact that silver was down. Short-term overs, well, it's not actually oversold yet. RSI is still 48, but it's due to bounce. AMD solid gains up 4%. Earnings are due Tuesday after hours. Should be good. Bulls can argue structure is a bull flag. Amazon up 1.5%. Earnings due Thursday after hours. Should be fine. Barrick Mining up 1.4%. Look at this. This is a very positive sign for the mining stocks. We have a floor from the 50-day, which is what it did repeatedly in October and November before going from 30 to 54. This is good. This suggests that we have a good chance at $50. Earnings are due Thursday after hours and will be good. Bullish. Boeing, not much there. Baba don't care. Bank of America at 1.6%. Also now above the 50-day again. Bitmine, underlying sentiment in crypto isn't great. Down 9% in the 22s. I mean, actually, look at that. 22s. That's below the November low. Oh my god, that's terrible. That's even worse than I thought. I mean, at least that low was above the November low, and we're below it. Terrible. Caterpillar, solid gains, 5%, new historic high. Kamiko, mostly just short-term cooling. I mean, you can't go up every day, right? You're gonna have to get some cooling. Carnival's powerful gains, 8%. Cruise lines are strong. Coinbase down 3.5% because of crypto testing the April low. So crypto, Bitcoin itself has tested this low back when Coinbase was 142. So Coinbase is actually somewhat more resilient relative to Bitcoin. Decas, just a little bit of cooling after Friday's strong gains. Soft target is 125 and then 150. Bullish deckers. Disney, earnings were fine. Stock was down 7.4%, 104s. That candle is a hollow, it's a very subtle one. It's a weird one as well because it's a spike. But that is a hollow red reversal candle. I leaned bullish. Energy transfer, just a bit of cooling. Don't care about that. Freeport, up 0.9%. Well above the 50-day. Much more resilient than the silver and gold miners, of course. Midterm bullish. Google, new historic high at 1.7%. Impressive. Earnings are due Wednesday after hours. Home Depot, look at this. Friday, spiky from multiple aspects of support. Same today, even more spiky, settling at 0.9. This bodes bullish. This is good. This is a very bullish sign for the stock and the sector and the Dow. Home Depot is a home. Anyway, Heckler. That is the what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day. 6 days down. We're on the 50-day. This is where we should expect a short-term floor. Of course, we have an upside gap to around 26. Intel up 5%. You could argue, what is that? What sort of structure's messy. We are clearly stuck around the teal gap, but 5% gains are bullish. Can't be bearish that. JOBY settled down a penny or a cent, 10.56. Stock is just trying to build a short-term floor after last week's $1 billion capital raise. I like this. Look, just going back to 16 would basically be a 50% upside. Never mind the fact it was 20 in August. Bullish. Long term, very bullish. I might be buying stock in this later this week. JP Morgan, bullish engulfing candle, up 0.7. KKR, don't care. I will check what OWL did today. OWL was down 1.6%. It did briefly break over into the November low. This isn't pretty. OWL is a problem. Keep an eye on this one. It's top of the list of stocks of private equity funds that might go under. Just a bit of cooling in KMI. CRE was up. Regional banks all reported generally okay. Just cooling back with the sector. Lockheed up 0.3. Today's candle was actually bullish engulfing. Meta, just a bit of cooling after last week's jump on earnings. MP Materials up 0.6. That's a black candle. It does lean a little bit bearish for early Tuesday. Microsoft's still struggling, but it should build a floor within orange gap. Micron up 5%. You could argue short-term structures a baby bull flag. Netflix down 0.9%. Again, you can see the sellers came in from the 10 MA. Not great. 82s. Big target is 70. Nike up 0.6. Another spiky candle somewhat. I'm open to the notion that maybe red gap will be tagged, but I still think eventually we're going to break above 70, which is the breakout threshold. The bold will be buying. Nvidia down 2.9%. Not much to say really. Look at it on a multi-month basis. It's all been chop. I do think we're going to take out the 212s. Earnings will be due in March, so yeah, I think we're going to be above 212 in March. Oklo just down with the sector. It is below the 200-day. There's a couple of gaps around 50. I don't know. ONDS picked up a UK company today. That's a black candle which leans short-term bearish, but stock is cyclically low, and we're due a floor. I got to think the bold will be buying. It could come down to 9s. Maybe. But long-term bullish. Occidental down 3.5% because oil was down 5%. Pan American Silver down 1.8%. Again, note the 50-day. It's going to be prone to finding support. Palantir up 0.8% of the day. Black candle. Earnings and after hours were. I mean, it's hard to. How do I even say it? It's annualized EPS is roughly $1, so the valuation is ludicrous, right? The stock was up roughly 10, $12, and it is testing in after hours the 200-day and the 10 MA. So I imagine we're going to get maybe a black candle here. The most bullish short-term outlook would be to test the 50-day. That looks it's possible, but this stock is it's broken, and I do think that soft target 125 looks realistic end of the month, and maybe 100 couple of months out. PayPal has earnings tomorrow morning, which should be okay, but the stock isn't pretty. Rocket Lab was down 7%, but you know, it's just a bit of cooling. Midterm bullish. SMR down 5.7%. Again, that's just with the sector. Nothing wrong with the company. If you like, this is a good one. If you liked it at 57, you really should like it at 16, right? My basic target is $30. I should own some stock in this one. Should. Target. Impressive, yeah. It was a lot of talk about Walmart. Customer counts were up 12% year over year. Bullish target. Soft target 115 and then 145. Tesla down 2%. Of course, there's a lot of chatter surrounding it in terms of XAI and SpaceX, which have now officially merged. Hell of a thing. Take two. I will note that Friday saw a big snap down, but look at where it spiked. Look at where the spike was. It was on this big threshold, which goes back over a year. So that's quite a good floor from 211. Today's candle is black, so maybe we're just arguably got a floor build from around here. We are oversold. I like this one for the midterm. Grand Theft Auto 6 due November 19th. Unless they delay it again. They better not. 4.9%. Bullish for the sector. Don't care about that one. United Health was down 0.5%. It's not great, right? This big gigantic gap down on Trump requesting that Medicare fees to the insurers be frozen. And you could even argue this is a bull bear flag. And I think we're going to take out the August 231s eventually. So we could come down to maybe $200 by mid-year. Again, recent earnings were good. Nothing wrong with earnings. But the market's not happy about the payment issues. UPS had a solid day up 3.8% to 110. I put up a chart and a video in after hours that somebody made. I like this one. I like it a lot. I've been highlighting it relentlessly for a few months. Exxon, just a bit of cooling down 2%. All right, so let's just, by the way, I'll just put up Bitcoin chart. Look, Bitcoin basically has found a floor from 74K, which is the April low. So we have a pretty good floor here, short term. But again, if you really want to start getting really bullish again, you need to go above 100K. 100K is $22,000 up, which is about 26, 27%. So you need to go up another 26, 27% just to really kind of negate all of this mess. And it is a mess. This is not pretty. I could understand people buying with a stop around 74K. It's a good, in terms of a risk reward, this is good. If this was a stock, say the stock was $74 this morning and it's 78 now, you think, okay, you can buy it and you have a stop of 74K. If you get kicked out, well, then you need to get out because, yeah, it's not good. Okay, before I forget, we should cover gold and silver. So let's see if, again, these numbers from stock charts are prone to changing in a couple of hours, but we'll go with whatever the hell stock charts is currently saying. for the end of day close. According to the stock charts, gold was officially down $220, 4.5% at 46.66. I would note the candle is very spiky from the 50-day. This is where you can expect buyers to come in. So, you know, I this is kind of important to hold. And on the silver daily chart, officially silver closed down $4.85, 5.7% at 79.78. I was mentioning the 69s at the weekend. We did print a low of 79, but that's still $10 above that. And I would note that the 50-day is 74s, and we got to 79s today. Yeah, this candle is wrong. Yeah, we had a range way bigger than this. So if I skip this and just go to the SLV daily chart, look at this. There you go. This candle's much better. So according to SLV, of course, as of 4 o'clock, the settlement was down $3, 4%, 72.44. Friday candle was a bit spiky. Today's candle is a little bit more spiky as well. And we had the 50-day 67s, and we had a low of 68.25. So we're trying to floor. Basic upside target would be the 10 MA at $90, which is also where the gap is. And the gap goes up to roughly 106. Well, let's first things first, right? $90 for SLV. So that's $18 up. Let's just round it down a bit. Yeah, because I was talking about this in my 3 o'clock space. Let's just round it off and be more conservative and say basic upside of $17 to roughly 90-ish. Is that this week? Could be. We still have 4 days in the week. That's plenty of time to get up to here again, and then we'll see what happens. Do we get stuck? Do we roll over again and put in a lower low, and maybe even come down all the way to 50? I don't think we're going to do 50 again, but also note today's volume was actually today's volume was below Thursday's volume, so things are calming down a lot. In fact, if you're bullish, you want to see volume um, drop off a little bit more to give you some confidence, but this is just a sporadic washout, much like October. Yeah, I will go to an hourly chart, which I did post up in the 3 o'clock hour. So yeah, you can see the giant upside gap from Friday morning, which starts at around. I mean, technically it starts around 89, but let's call it 89.90 ish. We printed 68 in the morning, 73.95 in the 2 o'clock hour, and we had a little bit of you can see where we stalled, right? The 10 MA is now resistance, but if we can clear that tomorrow, then in theory, minimum target is this threshold of 83, which is kind of important because it links up with these. I didn't label all the gaps on here, but there's a gap there, there's a little gap there, there's another gap. So we have we have a quadruple. Actually, there's another little micro gap around there. Tiny, but it's like a lot of gaps around this area. So I have this threshold of 83. And you think, okay, 83 is just round it up. Let's call it $10. I want to see $10 of upside. Is that likely tomorrow? No. Is it possible on Wednesday? Yes. Thursday? Yes. I think we're going to be $83 by late Thursday. So I am currently long I have multiple purchases from around this area. And then I just have to sit back and wait and have some patience. I would accept, you could argue, this is a bear flag. But I would also say, if you're bearish, trying to short with this is not such a great idea because we're basically oversold. having collapsed from 109 to 68, which is what that's, that's like $41. $41 from the Thursday high. $41 in span of 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Monday. Also note, and I didn't note it until, well, I did note it once or twice today. Note that the Friday low. Look at this spike. Very spiky candle, and it filled two gaps from January the 12th and the 9th. So we printed a marginal lower low. Now it's like, okay, we should bounce. In theory, we should bounce all the way up to 90-ish. But first things first. First things first, we should bounce to 83 before the weekend. I think it's going to happen by Thursday. So we'll see. If you imagine tomorrow, maybe ideally tomorrow morning, we can gap up maybe somewhere above, I don't know, 76, 77, and then maybe get to 82, 83. It's possible. And if we don't do it tomorrow, then well, it's always Wednesday. And look at this. Momentum is clearly flatlined on, well, floored on Thursday lunchtime, and we've been ticking upwards. And momentum at the current rate, momentum will turn positive by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then in theory, momentum should stay positive all the way into late Tuesday. Now, my only concern then would be wherever we are on late Tuesday, my concern is we're going to have another rollover like last Monday, and then we're going to have a cooling wave on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. But yeah. But yeah, look, on any basis, we haven't been this low in like, I don't know, years in terms of a washout, in terms of the hourly cycle. So yeah, silver's interesting. Gold looks pretty good for a bounce. Same for the miners. Anything else to cover? Not really. I mean, I will say that again, most people won't care, but they should. Transports. Transports is leading the way. Look at this new historic high. We'll look at it on a weekly chart as well. Look at that. Bullish. Monthly chart. Look at that. 18876. We're going up. We're not overbought yet. And when we are overbought, we can stay overbought for a couple of months. So we could be up. We could easily climb into April, May, even June. And again, from what I understand, the SpaceX IPO might occur in June. I was originally looking for September. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and let's see how silver and gold do early tomorrow. In theory, the patient should be able to sit back for most of tomorrow. But hey, 1 hour at a time, right? Be good.